changes your stats so you actually lean to the left when you're shooting, but it's not really a big problem. Also, you can do that if you guys didn't know. Alright, so hello gamers and welcome back to another video. So grips are a very important attachment in Phantom Forces, and they're constantly getting a bunch of changes to make them better or worse. So today, I'm going to be showing you some of the best grips in Phantom Forces. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new, subscribe in the next 5 seconds, or else you are sentenced to only using the vertical grip on every gun for the rest of time, so subscribe. But yeah, anyways, let's start it off with, of course, the vertical grip. And yes, the vertical grip is a good grip. Is it one of the best grips in the game? Arguably, yes, but it really depends on what you want. The vertical grip is definitely one of the more versatile grips in the game when it comes to hipfire and aiming down sights. It has benefits for both and kind of disadvantages for both, but more of just disadvantages for certain guns when you're aiming down sights. But overall, for hipfire, it's going to be amazing. It's going to really improve hipfire, as you can see, in a massive way. So if you're somebody like me who basically aims on every kill, unless it's very close and I really need to like actually hit fire to finish a guy off, you're probably not going to want to use this. It's simply not for you if you only aim down sights. But if you only hit fire, this is going to be one of the best grips in the game because over range you can still aim down sights. So yes, it will give you a lot better hip fire spread. But what does it do for aiming down sights? Well, it reduces your rotational vertical recoil by 5%, which really won't make a massive deal on pretty much any gun. Even a ton of guns with like a ton of vertical upwards kick, I'm talking like where they rotate up on every single shot. The main guns with vertical rotational recoil are going to be pistols, and of course this is not really going to be useful because a pistol cannot attach a grip except if it's the ASMI, and the ASMI doesn't really have recoil to begin with, and it doesn't really have vertical rotational anyway. I personally would give this grip a 3 out of 5. It's very good, definitely viable, but not great at all. But next up we have the angled grip. Now the angled grip kind of does a little bit of an interesting thing where it's really not for hip firing at all. However, it's a decent early game aiming and somewhat sniping grip as well. Basically what it does is it smooths your overall recoil by a little bit, but it will make your hipfire spread a little bit worse. But as you can see, it's not a huge problem, but that is definitely a lot worse than the vertical grip. But it will smooth your overall recoil by a tiny bit, and the best part about it is that it actually, unlike most of the grips in the game, will improve your aiming down sight speed. Most grips in this game will actually make your aiming a little bit slower. Not by a ton, like it's really not that important unless you're using like a sniper rifle, where, you know, on a sniper rifle, grips are not that important to begin with, because you don't really need any recoil control on a sniper rifle. So having worse aiming speed is kind of annoying on those, with not a ton of upsides to it. But as far as actually using a decent grip on basically any gun in this game, as long as you don't like hip fire, this is a great option because, yeah, you can use it as a sniper rifle grip until you get the skeleton, because the skeleton does improve your aiming speed by even more, but does increase recoil. But as I said, it doesn't really matter on a bolt action rifle to have a little bit more recoil. So overall, this is going to be getting a 4 out of 5. I don't think it's the best grip in the game. Overall, it's not like amazing in terms of recoil control, but the fact that it gives you better handling and a little bit better recoil makes it honestly like one of the best grips in the entire game overall. Like, it's a great jack of all trades as long as you don't like hip firing, because for hip fire it's not good. It's really just a direct downgrade for hip fire. Next up we have the potato grip, and this is a little bit like the angled grip. However, it's not really as good because it kind of improves recoil a little bit differently and maybe a little bit better, but it has two kind of disadvantages. First off, I don't think it actually improves your handling, which is kind of annoying. So it kind of doesn't really have the biggest thing about the angled grip that really sets it apart from other grips in the game. But secondly, it has a flashlight, and a flashlight in this game is really not that useful because, like, I'm on the probably darkest map in the entire game right now, Warehouse, and it's really not changing anything. Also, I need to use the M16A1 more. I forgot how much I like this gun, but I just haven't really used it after the update. Anyway, the potato grip is nice and all. Like, if you like the flashlight, use it, go ahead. But there's really no actually objective reason to use the flashlight. It's not going to make you better at the game. It's not going to make you see people easier. It's really just a detriment to you, because if you have a bad computer, like for me, it's not really a noticeable disadvantage, but my old computer, back when I had like a really trash computer, it was actually a pretty big disadvantage to run the potato grip or the flashlight or anything, because it would actually significantly make my FPS lower. It would make the game a lot harder to run for my computer. So if you have a trash computer, don't use the flashlight and don't use the potato grip. Overall, I'd give this one probably a 2 out of 5. It's really redundant, not that important. It's not the worst grip in the game, but it's definitely not the best at all. Next up, we have the skeleton grip. Now, the skeleton grip makes your recoil significantly higher. However, it will make your weapon swap speed and your aiming down sight speed a little bit faster. And it is a little bit more noticeable than the angled grip, but as I said, it's a little bit. Like, it's not like a huge advantage or anything like that. It's not like a 30% increase, but it can be like, you know, 10% or 15% or something, which is really not too bad. The thing is, on an automatic gun, aiming down sight speed isn't as important as some people kind of expect it will be, simply because when you're using an automatic gun, you can fire while aiming, but aiming down sights fully is kind of important on a sniper rifle, depending on how you're using it, of course, because if you're quick scoping, sometimes it's actually better to have slower aiming speed, because then you have more time before you actually enter your scope and then like kind of have a little bit of a worse time actually shooting people, but that's besides the point. Most of the time, if you're going to be using a sniper rifle, you want it to handle better. So most of the time, it's going to be very important to have the best aiming speed possible, which is why the skeleton grip is the best on bolt action rifles. The thing is, this grip is not versatile at all. In fact, I would probably never recommend it on any automatic gun, except if it's like super slow firing or you just really need better handling on it. But even then, just run like a remove stock, because yeah, a remove stock will probably increase recoil by a little bit more. But the thing about the remove stock is that it actually improves your walking speed, aiming down sight speed, swap speed, everything like that in a more significant way, because you're going to be walking faster. That's way more important than just aiming faster. So overall, I would actually give this one a 3 out of 5 because I think it's good. Definitely up there with like vertical grip and some of the higher, better grips in the game. The issue with it is literally just that it's not versatile at all. Like, I can't really give it a 5 out of 5 because it doesn't really work on everything. It's a 5 out of 5 on a sniper rifle because it's a direct upgrade, but in a lot of cases, it could be almost a direct downgrade with not a ton of really huge advantages to being used. So overall, it's a good grip, but not the best. Next up, we have the folding grip. Now, the folding grip is one of the best grips in the entire game and has been for a very long time. Stubby grip and folding grip were literally the only grips you should have been using for a very long time until they finally added some new grips and actually rebalanced a lot of the other grips. Like the vertical grip used to be awful. The angle grip used to literally just be a folding grip, but worse. The chainsaw grip used to be just for hipfire, and it wasn't really good. The Romanian grip was abysmally bad. Skeleton grip was actually pretty good, but like it still only had its niche. Most of the time, if you're using an automatic gun, you had to be using the stubby or folding. The folding grip is still probably going to be getting a 4 out of 5. The reason I'm not giving it a 5 out of 5 is because, once again, it actually makes your hipfire quite a bit worse, and that's not that good, you know. And the thing is, it also really doesn't like affect a lot of different types of recoil, only camera recoil, which is not really that big of a problem because every gun in this game has different levels of camera recoil, some of them more and some of them less. So it's not going to be a terrible, awful grip on literally any gun, except maybe a sniper rifle because it does slow your aiming speed. Not a lot of upside, but it's a good grip because it'll just make your gun just feel like it has less recoil and be a little bit more accurate. It's definitely a lot more helpful with vertical recoil. This camera kick usually just kicks your gun upwards. So for example, the AK-47 would be very good with this, but of course the Romanian grip kind of exists for that. Yeah, overall good grip, 4 out of 5. Then we have the stubby grip, and of course this is going to be getting a 5 out of 5. This is overall going to be the most versatile, usable grip in the entire game because it just smooths overall recoil by a little bit and also will make your hip firing a little bit different but better. It will actually increase your hip fire recoil. That's like the main downside of it, but it will actually improve the spread. So you'll kick up more but actually be quite a bit more accurate than you would be with the folding grip, which makes it a lot better for hip firing. Not great with hip firing on like a very high recoil gun to begin with. Like for example, on the M231, I do recommend the stubby grip, but if you're going to hip fire the M231, which I don't know why you would really ever do that, then I would recommend the vertical grip. Definitely not the stubby, because you really gotta aim with that gun if you're going to be using the stubby grip. But usually you're not going to actually notice the increase in recoil, and what you actually will notice is the improvement in terms of actual grouping. So you'll go up more but actually have a lighter spread when it comes to hip firing. It's not directly better for hip firing like the vertical grip kind of is, but it's, you know, better for aiming as well. It just improves recoil overall in a very substantial way, and that's why people seem to love the grip. And when I say people seem to love the grip, I also mean me, because I love the grip. The stubby grip is definitely my most used grip on like literally all my guns, you know. I just use it on basically everything except of course a sniper rifle, but even a DMR is good with the stubby grip. It'll make guns more accurate, and if you can't decide what grip to use on basically any gun, including like some shotguns and maybe even sniper rifles, but I wouldn't really recommend it on a sniper rifle, then it's going to be good on like literally anything, you know. Even when it's not the best grip, it's still definitely a contender, definitely in the top 3. Like for example, the AK-47, folding grip and Romanian are definitely going to be a little bit better, but stubby grip won't be a bad option either, which makes it really, really versatile, because if you can't really decide what grip to use, the stubby grip is definitely going to be one of the best, if not the best option overall. So even if you don't get the best grip when you're using stubby grip, you're still getting one of them, and a lot of the time you will just be getting the best grip for your gun. So that's why it's a 5 out of 5. It's just a little bit maybe too good for what it does. It doesn't really reduce recoil in a major way for one type of recoil, but it smooths overall recoil in a way that the angle grip doesn't really compete, and also will make your hipfire better. So it's definitely a 5 out of 5. Very, very good. And then next up we have a very weird and different grip known as the pistol grip. The pistol grip is really weird because what it actually changes is rotational and transitional recoil. Rotational recoil guns are HK416 pistols, stuff like that. Transitional recoil guns are things like the Foul Parashorty, where I don't really even know how to explain it, but if you look at the recoil in them, it's different from other guns in the game, you know. The AUG 3 and the HK416, they feel different when shooting. It's not more recoil, it's different recoil. And I can't really tell you each individual gun that has different recoil types because I don't actually know every single gun with every single recoil type in the values, but I will tell you like K2 HK416, very good with the pistol grip. Honestly, the pistol grip is very good on a lot of guns that you wouldn't expect it to be good on, so I will be giving it a 4 out of 5. It's not the most versatile grip, but it can be a very good option, if not the best option on quite a few guns, and it's kind of underrated as far as grips go. I think it's very good. Next up, we have an awful kind of trash grip that became insanely good and super fun. One of my favorite grips in the entire game, which is the sideways grip. The sideways grip used to not affect aiming down sight speed, which was kind of cool, and it gave you an alt-aim, but it's not a great alt-aim, it's that one. But the annoying thing about it was that it really didn't affect recoil at all. Like, it had maybe a 2% impact on recoil versus some attachments which could have like a 40% decrease in a type of recoil. Now it actually improves your recoil significantly and makes it more interesting because it'll actually make your grouping a lot better, but will actually lean to the left when you shoot. This basically makes it unusable on certain guns, but insanely good on some guns. If you have a gun with a ton of kick already, do not ever use the sideways grip. It's going to be terrible. But if you're using it on something like, you know, the M16A1, which has quite a bit of recoil to it, but not like a ton of kick to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of just floats a little bit. If there's a gun with floaty recoil or anything like that, it's going to be a very good grip for that because it really just improves recoil overall, but changes your stats so you actually lean to the left when you're shooting, but it's not really a big problem. Also, you can do that if you guys didn't know. If you weren't really a fan of the M16A1 before, I honestly recommend you try it with this grip because as you can see here, it makes certain guns so much more accurate to the point where you're like, wait, is that the same gun that I was using before? It's an incredible grip. It's going to be a 5 out of 5. It's not the most versatile grip in the game, but the thing is, it is insanely broken for what it can do. You know what I'm saying? Like, on some guns, it is incredible. C8A2, M16A1, these guns go from extremely inaccurate to a laser beam when you're using the grip. Like, that is incredible. And if I took off my grip, like, it's making such a massive impact on how my recoil works. And here's the thing, it's leaning to the left, so you just gotta like aim a little bit to the right and you're good. And if I take off my grip, this gun is going to feel so much worse because it's going to be a lot worse. It's going to be a lot more inaccurate. So what I'm trying to say here is use the sideways grip. It is really good. And if you have a lot of kills on a gun, try it out on your gun. If it's fast firing and automatic, it's probably going to be pretty good. Not every gun is good with it, but some guns are insane with it. So versatility wise, it's probably going to be like a 3, a 2 out of 5. But in terms of like actual effectiveness, when it comes to like overall guns, it's insane because unlike guns like the vertical grip where it's not super versatile and also not amazing on basically any gun except certain hipfire setups, this makes such a drastic impact when it works that it's incredible and definitely worth trying out. And we have a very trash grip that became very good, which is the Heretic CQR. I used to hate this grip because, yeah, it was really trash before. It had a massive impact on your rotational recoil, but really not a lot else. And the pistol grip kind of worked better for it anyway because this had more recoil reduction rotational wise than the pistol grip, but terrible handling that made it not worth it. And it still has terrible handling, but now it does something a little bit different and a little bit broken. Now the Heretic CQR grip is basically the best overall grip in the entire game if you don't really care about your handling. It gives you a little bit of hipfire benefit, but not much. But basically what you get from the laser on the gun is a red laser, but worse. So watch my laser guide if you guys want to see what all the lasers do. I won't get into it in this video because that would require an entire video, which I already made an entire video, so go check that out. It's on my channel. But as you can probably tell from this, it makes a gun very accurate, and you're probably like, okay, so what does it exactly do? Well, it does just about everything. It reduces basically every recoil type by a tiny amount, like between 2.5% and like 7.5, 10%. So what you're getting is a grip that is essentially a master of no gun, except guns with a lot of different types of recoil. Like for example, the G3 has super weird, like tons of cam recoil, tons of rotational, transitional. This makes the G3 from a pretty inaccurate, kind of difficult to actually hit things with gun into an amazing laser beam. I mean, it basically made the G3 get a nerf. This grip single-handedly made the G3 from a very nice, fun gun that was my high skill gun into a gun that was so overpowered that they had to nerf it just because of one grip attachment, which is incredible. I don't think that's ever happened. That's not like a crazy barrel or, you know, ammo conversion. For that to happen because of a grip attachment is incredible. That just shows how broken this can be. But because it's really only good on like 2 guns, not really as many as the sideways grip, and it can have drastic effects, I'm going to be giving this one a 4 out of 5 because, yeah, it's not quite as good, especially because of the fact that it really reduces your handling. Your aiming speed is like 25% worse. I think you have worse equipping speed as well, which is annoying. It's not really that bad on the Type 20 because I'm not using like a long barrel, but on a battle rifle or anything, like the G3 has terrible handling with this. It kind kind of feels kind of sluggish, but it's not that important because it makes the gun extremely accurate and it's definitely worth it. Next up, we have a grip known as the chainsaw grip. The chainsaw grip is a very interesting grip that it does something kind of special, but not special at the same time, which is that basically what it gives you is an alt aim plus better hipfire, right? And the alt aim is not very good. The hipfire increase is really good, but the fact that you can also alt aim makes you kind of want to aim it, but then the aiming recoil isn't really that great, and it actually increases your kick by quite a bit, which can actually make your recoil higher outside of hipfire. But of course, it does have, you know, better hipfire. I guess if you want to make any gun hipfire viable, it's good, except, you know, like the sniper rifle or something, but it's really just not that great at anything except hipfire. I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5 because it does its thing and it does it pretty well for what it does, but that thing is something that, in my opinion, and most people's opinion, isn't good, which is why you don't really see this grip too often, you know? Outside of like maybe meme setups, it's just not a great grip. And it is cool that it can alt aim, but that kind of just removes my want to use it for hipfiring, because if you guys didn't know, when you aim down sights with an alt aim, you're still actually aiming down sights. You're not hipfiring anymore, which means all the benefits are gone, so it's kind of scuffed. And the worst thing is, like, you're kind of just told you gotta aim down sights by the fact that you can, which before you couldn't, but it also doesn't really aim in when you aim down sights. So yeah, I'd give it a 2 out of 5 because, like, it can be a 5 out of 5 for some situations and setups and stuff. Like, even here on the Type 20, which is not an amazing, you know, hipfire gun, it's still pretty good. But is it really what you need from a gun? Not really. Especially because, like, just use an AMT Terminator and you're gonna do just fine, you know? And last up, of course, we have the Romanian grip. And the Romanian grip is an amazing grip because it has a massive dampening effect on vertical recoil, rotational wise, I guess, and your kick speed, which makes it really good for high recoil, high kick upwards, and lower fire rate guns, which is great because it's an AK grip and it's really good on AKs. It's also good on the Beowulf ECR, although they removed it from that gun because it was so broken. That's the other time a grip has been super good, but the first time was the G3 and the M14. But other than that, it's not really good, but it's like a 6 out of 5 when it comes to these guns. It's incredible on certain guns like the AK-47, but other than that, not very good. So I would be giving it a 4 out of 5, even though it's not super versatile, because it is incredible, probably better than the sideways grip on the guns that it's really good for. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're new, comment down below your favorite grip, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.